it can get you dead. Quiet, cool. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Rated R.
Opens November 7th at a theater near you.
You're watching WXFL-TV 8, Tampa, St. Petersburg. This is Newswatch 8, Night Watch. With Dennis Roper. David Sharp on sports. And Rick Mellum with the weather.
This is Matthew. They're calling him Tampa's miracle baby, the firstborn here of in vitro fertilization. Good evening. I'm Dennis Roper. Matthew was born this past week, but details of his birth were withheld until today. Health Watch reporter Irene Mayer was on hand at Matthew's introduction and has this amazing story.
Mark Schroeder and his wife Rebecca Rose are the proud parents of Matthew Aaron Schroeder, the child they have waited almost 3 years to have.
You can't imagine what it's like to think that you'd never have your own children and then have a miracle happen. This is Matthew the miracle.
Rebecca and Mark are like an estimated 10,000 couples in the Bay Area, unable to have children because of infertility. For them, in vitro fertilization was a last chance. In vitro fertilization is a process whereby eggs from the woman are fertilized with her husband's sperm in the laboratory and then are transferred to the womb to develop normally. There are about 150 in vitro fertilization clinics in the country. This one at Humana Women's Hospital in Tampa opened last January. 32-year-old Rebecca and 35-year-old Mark were most happy to see it open.
All the successful clinics have long waiting lists.
Right.
And we live here, so we decided to wait.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
The clinic boasts a 29% pregnancy success rate, among the highest in the country. Rebecca learned she was pregnant last March.
I was absolutely shocked. We were both shocked. And then we still didn't believe it till we got about 7 or 8 months pregnant and knew that it was really going to be a baby.
Matthew arrived at 11:58 p.m., October 29th.
There are 35 women enrolled in the IVF program here. 23 have completed the in vitro fertilization treatment, and 3 are confirmed pregnant. The next baby is due in about 3 months. Irene Mayer, Night Watch 8, Tampa.
Bye-bye.
That procedure, by the way, cost about $5,000, but all the parents involved and those who can't have children say it's money well worth it. A University of California surgeon reported today on the first successful operation in which a fetus was operated on outside the womb and then returned to the uterus. The baby was born last year, has survived the first critical 14 months, and remains in good health. 2 previous attempts at external fetal surgery had failed. The oldest president in U.S. history today, President Reagan, signed into law a bill that bans mandatory retirement based on age. The president says Americans over 70 will now have a chance to make valuable contributions to the workforce. President Reagan is doing all he can to support Republican candidates for the Senate. And today, Florida Democrats united to show support for their party. Governor Bob Graham, former Governor Ruben Askew, and a man who would like to be governor, Steve Padgett, gathered at a press conference in Miami. Padgett is running a close race with former Tampa Mayor Bob Martinez. But Governor Graham is holding a steady lead over Senator Paula Hawkins in the race for the U.S. Senate. Senator Hawkins brought some important colleagues to Tampa Bay to campaign for her today. Senator John Chafee of Rhode Island and Senator John Warner of Virginia went on Hawkins' campaign trail to urge voters to keep her in the Senate and to help hold the Republican Senate majority. Senator Warner compared Hawkins to another well-known woman politician, Britain's Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher.
You know, Paula, I remember so well when Margaret Thatcher was elected Prime Minister of Great Britain, and she came to speak for the first time to the United States Senate. And she stood before the senators and she said there's a saying in Parliament that if you want to get a bill talked about, get a man. If you want to get a bill passed, get a woman MP.
Now, though recent polls give Bob Graham the lead in the Senate race, Hawkins says her pollsters tell her the campaign is a dead heat.
And I've told you that before.
Gubernatorial candidate Steve Padgett did some last-minute campaigning in Tampa today. Padgett spoke to a modest crowd at a rally at Riverfront Park this afternoon. Flanked by local Democrats and former Governor Askew, Padgett told the crowd he supported single-member districts.
Continues to be the best place to fish and the best place to swim, but in Florida, that's also the best place to get a job, the best place to raise a family. the best place to get an education.
Padgett later greeted a crowd of 500 teachers at Hillsborough County's Classroom Teachers Association, a big rally for several statewide and local teachers organizations who have already backed Padgett. Republican gubernatorial candidate Bob Martinez wound up a 3-day campaign swing through South Florida today. Martinez is working hard for votes in the traditionally Democratic area of Dade County. Now, when voters go to the polls on Tuesday, they'll choose between the two men for governor who have very different ideas on how they will lead the state in the next 4 years. As we continue our look at where the candidates stand on the issues, Night Watch 8's Diane Pertmer tells us how Steve Padgett and Bob Martinez differ on the way Florida should be governed.
Bob Martinez has aligned himself with Ronald Reagan in his quest for governor, both in image and in philosophy. Martinez wants to extend the Reagan Revolution to state government.
And I have said I can find 5% of waste in government, not necessarily reduce the taxes, but to transfer it to something useful.
Martinez is using another lesson from the president. He's running as a conservative and labeling his opponent a liberal. But Democrat Steve Padgett isn't rejecting Reaganism.
President Reagan, I'm confident, would take the same position I have on the homestead.
Padgett says the liberal tag Martinez has hung on him doesn't fit, that he's a progressive, campaigning on the theme Florida should be a state of excellence.
What I am is an aggressive problem solver who has been able to bring together diverse groups and find a middle road that Florida has followed now for the past 16 years, one that balances competing interests.
Martinez says he's a manager and charges Padgett's background as a state legislator is a liability.
Steve, I know you've only legislated, you've spent the money, you've taxed, you've made big budgets, but you never ran any government, and that's why you can't understand how you cut budgets.
He's been dealing with a $300 million budget in Tampa. We've got a $16 billion budget that I've had to deal with in Tallahassee.
The two will be driving home their messages in a flurry of last-minute campaigning, with Padgett concentrating on vote-rich South Florida and Martinez planning a statewide fly-around. Diane Pertmer, Night Watch 8.
Well, today's weather was pretty nice for campaigning or just about any other outdoor activity you might want to try. Rick Mellum's here now to tell us if we can expect more of the same tomorrow. Rick?
I think we definitely can, Dennis, and we have a super night going on in Ybor City. We have Halloween, I should say. Tropical weather in the air, slightly muggy, but these revelers are really not seeing anything too bad about the weather. I should say that some of you to the south are still seeing some rain. Radar time-lapse begins at 5:30 this afternoon with some thunderstorms across Polk and Hardy counties that move to the west across Manatee and Sarasota counties. Rain coming down at the rate of about 5 inches per hour. We still have some light rain in that area, but it is dissipating, and it should be gone within the next 1 to 2 hours. Low temperatures then around sunrise tomorrow morning will be within a degree or two of 70, and it will be just as hot tomorrow as it was today. Look for readings into the upper 90s. Your nowcast, clear and muggy for most of you, and look for some fog to develop around sunrise, and if you're into fishing, the best time will be from 6 until 8. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk a little bit more about that fog tomorrow morning and what you can expect tomorrow afternoon. Dennis?
Thank you, Rick. Well, coming up on the Night Watch, hope is running high tonight for release of America's Beirut hostages. And later, Ybor City's version of Halloween is not your ordinary ghost party. Stay with us.
TV8 presents another reason why you should watch Jeopardy. Do you know more than these contestants?
I play about 5 times a week and I never get any better.
Then tune into Jeopardy and see how you do against the players on TV.
How do you measure up?
Find out on Jeopardy. It's the best news at 7 o'clock.
I dare you.
To play Jeopardy, guaranteed to raise your IQ 40% or your money back.
Why is Honda #1 in customer satisfaction?
Well, it has been such a wonderful experience that we now own 5 of them.
Listen to a Honda owner.
I have all older children. They own one, my husband owns one. It's just that we live on a corner. People want to know if we have a Honda dealership there. When everybody's home, they're all parked lined one after the other.
When you're happy, we're happy. We're your Gulf Coast Honda dealers.
Honda family, that's right.
In every Walgreens Walgreens Pharmacy, there's an intercom that saves you time. So no matter where you travel, your current prescription records are as close as the nearest Walgreens. And intercom saves you money by reminding you of generic savings. Walgreens Intercom may even help protect you from an allergic reaction. Isn't it nice there's a Walgreens nearby?
It's nickel print days at Walgreens Photo Centers. For a limited time, get a second set of color prints for a nickel a print. Imagine a second set to share for only a nickel a print.
Okay, everybody, let's go. Group life and health insurance for Metropolitan Life? I know they're #1 in group life insurance and a leader in group health insurance, but I'm just a manager of a little ball club. Maybe my group should be covered. I have the strangest feeling I just did something right. Get Met, it pays.
This is Patricia, age 16, missing since April 1986.
A tragic accident at a West Tampa carnival tonight has left a young man dead. Police say the youth was apparently a carnival worker. He got caught in a ride and died from injuries to the head. The victim's name has not yet been released. 2 people are hospitalized tonight following a grinding 2-car accident on Sly and Howard in Tampa. One person is in critical condition, the other in guarded. Another person was injured but not hospitalized. Tampa police have not yet released the names of the victims. It's believed the mishap occurred when one car made an improper left turn into the path of another vehicle. The accident occurred just after 7:30. One man is dead, another in stable condition tonight. Both were attacked in a Tampa bar. 2 men carrying guns walked up to the pool table at Clementi's Bar and Lounge. They told the crowd in the room to be quiet and proceeded to shoot 2 people. No identities have been released and no arrests have been made in that shooting incident. In the Middle East tonight, there are a lot of people waiting and hoping. Reports say that hostage negotiator Terry Waite is still working to free 6 Americans and 2 Frenchmen being held in Lebanon. The government of Syria has become involved, but they could not confirm that any progress had been made. Still being held captive in Nicaragua, American flyer Eugene Hasenfuss. Hasenfuss went to trial today on charges that he aided Contra rebels. Earlier, the Contras had offered to swap 30 Sandinista prisoners for Hasenfuss, but Nicaragua's foreign minister refused to consider that idea. Coming up next, Rick Mellum with a look at the Sunday forecast. Stay tuned. Your Night Watch continues.
I'm Joe Isuzu. Here in my factory, I equip these iMarks with millions of standard features, like a breakfast nook, twin satellite dishes, and for those kids, a frozen yogurt machine. Prices start at $69.99, and you get $500 back. Why, I've got the money right here in my pocket.
Right now, 5.9% financing or a $500 rebate on every iMark.
If you could build the best performance car in the world, you'd want a gasoline that lets it perform its best. Chevron unleaded gasolines with the Tekraline additive control deposits while cleaning intake systems. Not just fuel injectors, complete intake systems. Chevron with Tekraline delivers peak performance no matter what car you drive. Can one gasoline really let your car perform its best?
I'm Steve Overton, and I'm on your side. So if you have a consumer problem, write it down and send it to 8 on Your Side, P.O. Box 888, Tampa 33601.
Yes, do you have room for family of 4?
Certainly.
When we needed a new phone system, our GTE account manager helped us find just the right one with things like call accounting to show how many calls our guests make. And with automatic wake up, we need one less operator.
Could you wake us up at 7 o'clock?
We have a radio paging system, too. GTE met their deadlines, and their service is terrific. It takes a lot to satisfy me, but GTE does.
You know, for a compact disc player, this isn't very compact.
These controls could be designed better.
Some people always seem to make the smart buy, the perfect choice.
Now, this one's terrific.
The same people are always just as smart about how they pay. Choice, the smart way to pay.
The Colorado ski season got off to a flying start today. 20 inches of snow fell in parts of the mountains. Folks near Denver rushed to city garages for quick tune-ups and snow tires. No chance of that here. We were the hottest spot in the nation today.
89 degrees at Tampa International. I should say that we share it with Lakeland and Fort Myers. And the record high for tomorrow is 89 degrees, and there's a good chance that we could tie that. Right now at Tampa International, it has cooled off to 70. Let's make that 72 degrees. Low last night was 70, and the high today was 89. Relative humidity 82%. We have a dew point of 72 degrees. The wind is out of the north at 9, and we have a rising barometer. Well, around sunrise tomorrow morning, as the air cools down, look for some fog to roll in. Now, the fog forms when the air cools to the dew point and then tries to cool past the dew point, squeezing moisture out of the atmosphere and forming the fog. I don't think it's going to be much of a factor along the coast, but you folks that live inland, and especially if you saw some rain today, your visibilities tomorrow morning could drop to around 1/2 mile or less. So if you have some travel plans, you may want to leave a little bit earlier and slow down. No matter what, beware of the fog, because you never know, there just might be somebody watching you. Already, fog is forming across northeast Florida where a traveler's advisory is in effect, and the visibility at Jacksonville Airport has been reduced to 1/2 mile, and by tomorrow morning, those folks will have visibilities around 0. And all the clouds across the state are in the process of dissipating. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, if you don't have the fog, you'll probably have sunshine. Where we have the rain left over is right through this area, mainly light rain now, and it is in the dissipating stages. A lot of sunshine after the fog burns off. A few clouds in the afternoon. Look for a thunderstorm or two by the late afternoon. Looks like we're going to have this hot, humid weather for the next 3 days. About midweek, this cold front will be moving in, and it'll give us another touch of fall by the end of the week as temperatures will get back to near normal. You already heard Dennis talk about that heavy snow out in Colorado. Well, it's still falling, and a heavy snow warning is in effect for southwest Colorado, an additional 10 to 20 inches falling tonight. Snow is falling back into central Iowa with freezing rain just to the south of it in the slightly warmer air. Now, this is the contrast of weather. In advance of it, St. Louis today had a high of 71, while Kansas City in the colder air had a high today of 43. And by the time that front gets here, the bulk of that real cold air should slide off to the east, but we'll see temperatures drop a good 10 degrees. Tonight, much of the west will be freezing, and the low temperature tonight at International Falls, Minnesota will be 10 degrees. The warmest weather in the country will be right along the Gulf states with 50s, 60s, and southern Florida in the 70s. For tomorrow, the Gulf states will again be the hot spot. Who knows? We could be the hot spot in the country again. And International Falls, Minnesota, they're going to have a tough time to try to reach 32 degrees. For tomorrow, there's that front inching to the southeast. Summer continues for us with a few showers in the afternoon and more snow across the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. Get out your ski boots. Sunny, hot, and humid tomorrow. There will be a few storms around. Look for a record-tying high of 89. Low tomorrow night, 70. Winds on the Gulf of Mexico out of the east, 10 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Water temperature 74 degrees. We have 4 tides tomorrow. A high tide coming up in about an hour and a low tide at 8 a.m. Here's your outlook. We're looking for some rain, a better chance of rain possibly Tuesday with the approach of that front. And then by Thursday, temperatures cooling off to near normal. A normal high would be 80, normal low 60, and we'll be pretty close to that. But 89, warmest in the country today.
I don't want to throw any cold water in your forecast, but I hope that Tuesday forecast is wrong. It is election day, and that could hurt the turnout. Some of these races are so close, rain could, actually a low turnout could really affect the races.
I'll tell you more about that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Rick. In sports, the Rowdies are back indoor style. David Sharp will have that story in some very exciting college football action, including the return of Kerwin Bell that cost the Tigers of Auburn. Stay with us.
Another 30 seconds of common sense. Walk into most automobile showrooms and ask to see something under $7,000, and you'll get very little show with a lot of room for improvement. But at Hyundai, you'll get 7 Excel models for under $7,000, all thoroughly equipped and starting at only $49.95. And that leaves very little room for the competition.
Test drive an Excel at one of these Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater Hyundai dealers. We sell cars that make sense. When an urgent package leaves your hands, make sure the hands you leave it in can deliver. Express Mail overnight service from your post office delivers over city, over state, overnight, over whatever stands in the way. Over 97% of the time and climbing. For about half what most others charge. £2, just $10.75. Express Mail overnight service. When we say overnight, we mean overnight.
Would you step outside, Mr. Martinez? A few thousand police officers want a word with you. Why did the crime rate in Tampa skyrocket while you were mayor? Just how will we fight crime and drugs after you slash our budget? We're the Police Benevolent Association and the Fraternal Order of Police, almost all the cops in Florida. If deceptive political ads were illegal, we'd have to take Bob Martinez in. We've endorsed Steve Padgett for governor.
A new source of power in town. A new power in banking. 600 locations in the South. 100 years of experience. First Union National Bank. Let the power be with you.
This is Sarah, age 5, missing since June 1986.
You've got to be kidding.
No.
David just told me Gators are talking bowl game already.
Well, the coach wouldn't say that. Coach Galen Hall would never say that. But their fans are saying it's possible. If they beat Georgia, they have a very good chance.
That's an if.
And I tell you, it's going to be Florida or Florida State prediction that will be in the Hall of Fame Bowl at Tampa Stadium. It's going to be one of them, I bet you. Welcome back, Kerwin Bell. That is the cry of Gator fans tonight. His return from a knee injury propelled the Gators to some kind of come-from-behind victory over 5th-ranked Auburn. The Tigers' Brent Fullwood takes it across here, and Auburn had a lead of 17-0 before Bell came on at quarterback. This sneak put Florida on the board to make it 17-7. And let us not forget that it was a former Auburn Tiger, Robert McGinney, with this 52-yard field goal to put the Gators in position for the comeback to get the win. Time running out. Bell looking for his favorite receiver, Ricky Nattil. There he is. It's 17-16. Will the Gators go for a tie or the win, need you ask? Bell on the try for 2. Again, he looks for Nattil. He's covered. So on the bad knee, Kerwin fights his way in. The Gators and Bell pull out their first SEC win.
To see not only that we won, but the way we had a desire and the will to win, and you know, we just didn't look like it was capable, but we just had confidence in ourselves, and that's what I'm most proud about, is the way we fought back.
It's a big win. They came here, they're undefeated, in a great ball club, great physical ball club. You know, when you beat a team like that, you get your respect back.
And that is exactly what they got back. The Gators win at 18-17, Georgia in Jacksonville next weekend. Number 1 had to rally today to stay unbeaten. The top-ranked Miami Hurricanes had their hands full with Florida State, and the Noles defense had its hands full with Vinny Testaverde. Playing on an injured ankle, Vinny still had the mobility and field sense to come up with the big plays like this shot to Alonzo Highsmith. But the Noles were up to some magic of their own, Bobby Bowden style. On the kickoff, Keith Ross with a lateral to Dexter Carter. You say, is that legal? It sure is, and the Canes had no clue that he was even out there. There he goes all the way, and the Noles took a 20-14 lead. But then they suffered a tough break. Quarterback Danny McManus went down with an injury, had to leave. Meanwhile, Testaverde able to stay in despite more damage to the foot, and he legs it in. Later on, goes for the touchdown pass to give the Canes the lead, and there it is to Benny Blades. The Canes stay unbeaten. The final score, 41-23. Other state scores: FAMU over Hampton, Bethune-Cookman Falls, Central Florida a winner over VMI. Alabama is now the only unbeaten team in SEC play. Bobby Humphrey had a school record 284 yards in the Tide's rout today of Mississippi State. And Ole Miss put a big dent in LSU's Sugar Bowl hopes. Trailing by 2, the Tigers had a chance to win it with a field goal, 9 seconds to go from 30 yards out, but it goes just left, and Dennis Roper was crying all night. I got to tell you about that one. The scoreboard: Penn State over West Virginia, Michigan bombs Illinois. Dennis is from Louisiana, in case you didn't know it. Oklahoma over Kansas, Arizona State leading Washington in a big battle in the Pac-10. Alabama, there's the bomb over Mississippi State. Nebraska shuts out Kansas State. Texas A&M over SMU. There's the Ole Miss score, and Dennis is still wiping the tears. Rice loses to Arkansas. UCLA shuts out Oregon State. NC State had a tough battle with South Carolina. Ohio State, big battle now in the Big Ten. It's going to come down to those two guys again. You know what, Ohio State and Michigan will battle for the Rose Bowl. Looks like USC leading Arizona in the fourth. Notre Dame wins tonight over Navy. Georgia, a winner over Richmond, had to come from behind. Georgia Tech over Duke. Kentucky having their problems lately. Maryland loses to North Carolina in the last few seconds. Rutgers shuts out Louisville and Howard Schnellenberger. Clemson over Wake Forest, and Michigan State a winner over Minnesota. The new game in town tonight opened up the Rowdies indoor style at the Bayfront Center. A pretty good crowd on hand to see the opener against the Memphis Storm. The Rowdies' first goal in the American Indoor Soccer Association goes to Tim Walters. The Rowdies up 1-0. And the Fannies like that kind of action. They said, this is kind of fun indoors. And they see a fine assist right here. Nick Mangione to Mr. Walters again. And the Rowdies go on to win their home opener. The final score at the Bayfront, 4-3. They were talking baseball tonight at the Diamond Club banquet. Lots of former and present greats on hand, including Tampa's own Wade Boggs, whose return home took away some of the disappointment of losing the World Series.
Coming home, it gratifies it a lot because you play 162 ball games, the grind of spring training, the death of my mother, the illness that my sister's inflicted with, all that was, I think, the reason that the emotions were shown after Game 7. That was really the whole thing right there.
Class act, no doubt, something we can be proud of, Wade Boggs, Dwight Gooden, and all those guys. Well, with two teams that have 3 wins and 13 losses between them, you wouldn't think tomorrow's Bucks-Bills game would be that exciting. But Jim Kelly says that just ain't so.
We have a good team. You know, injuries definitely hurt a team when they're on the upswing, but you know, I look at this game as any other game. You take it one at a time. Tampa Bay's hungry for a victory, just like the Buffalo Bills, and it's going to be an exciting game, I think.
Mark Hayes shot a 4-under par 68 today to take a 1-stroke lead over Russ Cochran and Dennis Trickler, that in the Tallahassee Open heading into tomorrow's final round. NBA scores on the first full weekend of the regular season. Houston over the Lakers in a rematch of those semifinals from last year. Chicago takes New York. It was Atlanta blasting New Jersey. Indiana over Detroit. Cleveland a winner over Washington, and San Antonio wins the Battle of Texas. The Tampa Greyhound Daily Double tonight, a 3-8, paid $249.61. Programming note, it was listed in some places that we had 2 games tomorrow here. We can only have 1 when the Bucks are home. That will be at 1 o'clock when Houston plays Miami. So no 4 o'clock game. If you've seen that someplace, that's incorrect.
Okay,
Don't call us.
Next up on the Night Watch, we'll take you to Ybor City's big Guavaween celebration for fun and a lot more. Stay with us.
When people ask me why I want to be governor, I try to explain what it's like growing up in a big family where we've all loved and cared for each other through good times and bad. My grandmother came here 80 years ago. My twin granddaughter's just 3 months. I want a Florida where my parents can get affordable, quality health care, my grandchildren can have a first-rate education, and all our families can be safe from crime. This is Bob Martinez, and I'm running for governor for them, for you, and for Florida.
If your car could choose its own gasoline, it would want to choose from gasolines that are all pure lead-free. Now Amoco introduces a pure lead-free choice. Amoco regular lead-free, new mid-grade Amoco silver lead-free, and Amoco Ultimate Premium. The Amoco lead-free 3. One's the right choice for your car.
Are you ready for Halloween Latin style? David Sharp said he wanted a hot dog, but this is Guavaween, Old Ybor City's wildest of parties. Nobody got too much out of hand because the Blues Brothers were on a mission from somewhere, I don't know where. Helen Chavez played the role of Imelda Marcos and her many shoeless shoe slaves. And who could forget the synchronized shopping cart team? The only thing they were missing was a 4-pound bag of coupons to sort through at the checkout line. Then there was the Bud Man and his traveling 6-pack. They had to keep their mouths shut because of the new open container law. And these are, I think, the Wailing Walloos, whatever that is. But the crowd seemed to enjoy themselves, and Mama Guava says, Buenas noches. We'll come back again next week. Well, that's our report for this Saturday. Thank you for being a part of it. Join us tomorrow at 6 for the Sunday edition. For Rick Mellum and David Sharp, I'm Dennis Roper. Make the best of your weekend, won't you? Now stay tuned for Jay Leno with guests David Letterman and Vanna White. Good night.
Saturday Night Live will return next week. Now, an NBC special presentation, The Jay Leno Show.
Many great documents were written here in Philadelphia, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. Philadelphia is also home to a document far more significant than any of these.